First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. Thanks for joining us. That is a live look there from our Shriners camera overlooking Portland. Actually, there's an event that's going to be going on right down there. That is. Yeah, the Made Bike Festival, I think, is going to be happening. And it's going to be very warm.
Yeah, I would say scorching hot.
Scorching hot
I feel
would
like
even be
is a word that I could use.
a better term to use. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Again, this is Fox 12 Now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Nibbler here with Katie Zuniga to talk about the weather that is going to be coming, that's happening right now. It's started.
It has started. The temperatures are already into the 70s in some areas. Like we had a cooler morning because the hot air really hadn't come in yet.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to noon, the heat is on.
That's when it starts.
We've been saying.
And it's going to be like that for a while.
We have a possible 6-day heat wave.
6 days. Oh, wow. See, so I'm learning about this too. So
Yeah.
Let's, should we just get into this?
Yeah, let's not waste any time.
Yeah, not waste time. And
So here's what we have for you is today through Monday, we have your first alert weather days, but that's not the end of the heat because we have a couple of days still in the 90s. So our criteria for a first alert day when it comes to the heat is usually at least at 95.
Okay.
And above. And so once we get to Wednesday, Thursday, we start to see things maybe back to the 80s. So here's the next big change that we have for you, which is the change that starts today. It's very hot. The next 4 days, we're looking at each day being at or possibly just below the triple digits and slow cooling. And so that's a couple days in the triple digits, a couple days in the upper 90s, a couple days in the mid 90s, a couple days in the low 90s, and then finally back to the 80s. So here's kind of the details of your first alert days. So today through Monday for the Western Valleys and the Gorge, temperatures, like we said, around 100 each day through the I-5 corridor out into the Gorge metro area. Warm nights, we'll go over the temperatures because we do have some possible records we're breaking there. Low humidity, for me, that's a good thing. I prefer the dry heat over that humid, sticky, like you can't cool down feeling. That's not my favorite. The coast, although it is going to be heating up as well, we're looking at like 85 or less.
So the coast is going to be a nice place to be.
There or even up at the mountain. Okay, so here's what I wanted to look at with you. This is the average last day we see these temperatures. So August 16th, which wasn't that long ago, 95 is usually the last time we see mid-90s. Then we get into September, and it's usually the low 90s, the beginning of September, low 80s toward the end of September, and then 70s in October. Historically speaking, this isn't actually the latest we've had a triple-digit day. Just last year, and then back, I believe it was 1944, on September 5th, it was 100. And then just last year, on September 5th, we hit 102. So we've had these temperatures in the past. It's happened. October 5th was 99, October 21st was 80, and then November 13th was 70. Got really close to Thanksgiving there. That must have felt like a nice hot holiday. Then average last day that we've had recently. So last year, as we just talked about, we got all the way to September 24th for our last 90 or above day. And last 3 years, it's been into September. You can see it's late August, early September, so we're really not too far out of the realm of reaching 90s. It's still possible. We haven't, had time change yet, sun angle, duration of, daytime. The earliest we've had a last day was July 15th, and the latest we've had a 90-degree day was October 5th. In 1954, fun fact, we had no 90-degree days.
Wow.
Yes, and we had to talk about this before with the fact that we do have summers without 100-degree days, and so far this year we've had one. So these are our near misses. I think a few weeks ago we talked about this together, Greg, where we saw 4 times we came so close. Each one has an 80-degree day, 87, 89, 86, 87. So those were our 4 near misses. Then we had our first heat wave, the 10th through the 12th, where we hit 99 each day. And the thing I want to address is the reason why all of this is different than this forecasted heat wave is wind direction.
Okay.
All of these other potential heat waves had a north to like a northwest wind component. And so the source region where that air is coming from is a big factor. And if it's coming from the north, if it's coming straight up from the south, you get different possible temperatures than you do when it's coming from the east or the northeast. When that air is being drawn in, we have that thermal low, the trough that comes through, brings that air in, it's directed down toward that. Then we have the east wind component. When air comes down the mountain, when it gets brought through the gorge, it drops down, it dries out, for so to speak, and it warms up. That's why, and I'll show you the wind direction where we're at and where we're forecast, but that's the key component to 100, 101, 98, 97.
It's that wind.
Yep, and then we possibly will have 2 more low 90s on top of that we're watching out for. So 90-degree days each summer. We have, usually on Portland, we have an average here of about 15. That's the 30-year average that's updated every 10 years. So this is through, I'm going to put myself on the spot here, 2020 was the last time that these numbers were updated. So if you go 30 years back from 2020, we've had an average of 15. We've had 14 so far, so we haven't broke average, but we could be adding another 6 to that, which would take us to 20. But even that's not close to our all-time record that we had in 2018, where we had 31 days. And then the number of 100-degree days each summer, we talked about this not too long ago. I mean, you see quite a few. We haven't had any yet. This is our all-time record right here of 5. That's the most we've had of 100-degree days. We're only looking at 2 right now. But you can see here, there are 8 all the way back to 2000 that we have had no 100-degree days, and several where we only had 1 or 2, which is where we're looking at that will likely be for the summer. So there's your 100-degree days if you're wondering about that. The other important thing is our heat headlines, we call them. So an extreme heat warning. It started this morning. All the areas that you have colored in here, you can see some out up to the north and all the way down. I believe it's also over into parts of Central Oregon. Goes through Tuesday night. That's for the excessive heat warning. And then we have the heat advisory. That's along the Cascade Range, the Coast Range. That's today, but that ends on Tuesday morning. So it's going to be very warm, but not as hot. Not expecting to reach 100-degree temperatures in those areas, but still not a normal heat that we would expect. And then we talked about warm nights. So these are our forecast lows. And so we say, this is from today going into Saturday. So technically your temperatures, your coldest part of the day is the early morning around 5 or 6 o'clock. So the low and then the high. So the low for us tomorrow morning or tonight, we're expecting mid-60s, upper 60s, mid-60s. And there are definitely areas, whether it's in the gorge, the valleys, might not even drop out of the 70s tonight. And that's when those us non-air conditioned folks have a really hard time cooling down, because especially when you're on the coast, you love to open up your windows and you get that air flow in. Well, we're not having that cool onshore flow, that nature's air conditioning, as we call it. It's being cut off right now. If we wake up tomorrow morning and we're anything at 65 or warmer, we'll break that record. We're possibly going to break it Sunday morning, be a little warm there. Same thing on Monday morning, very, very, very close, and then Tuesday also very close. So any one of these days, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, we could break a record for the warmest low temperature for that specific day of the year. So the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. None of these records go back too incredibly far, but still all important things to note. If you're what you have going on, I wouldn't want to be camping this weekend. Which I also meant to ask you that. We'll talk about that. How that rain handled with your camping trip. Yep. So there's your warm nights that we've been talking about. Okay, wind direction. This is our current wind speeds right now, so we're not seeing anything too much. Sandy definitely has the east wind going on. I was watching temperatures, and I do have current temperatures. We were Estacada was all warmed up real quick this morning, as it is one of the factors, one of the places that gets impacted by that east wind the most. You can see coming through, we've had some gusts near Crown Point at 35, Corbett 31, then it calms down as it gets to Troutdale. So we have not seen that come all the way in here yet. But when we look at the forecast of that, we see that. So this is by 2 o'clock today. You can see that east, kind of northeast flow, and that's what is the warm one. Not super gusty. We're not worried about, really gusty winds, but there's a couple things with that. One is increasing fire danger, and two is that's what warms us up. Then we'll go through the night, things will calm down. This is later tonight. You can see it backs off a little, still a little east wind up there over to the east, go through and then get us into Saturday afternoon. And that east wind is back, coming through. And banks too, I've noticed out with the, the topography and stuff like that, as we get over to the other side of the metro, even out in Forest Grove, they can heat up in the morning and in the afternoons quicker than some of these areas that kind of get blocked and not as impacted by that. And then we move on and things are a little bit lighter. Now we're getting to Sunday morning and you're not seeing it. This is when we expect things to change and hopefully back off, but we're still expecting it to be quite warm. Here are your temperatures right now. Oh boy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, like a Forest Grove,
Already.
86.
It's 86 in Forest Grove right now?
Look at Estacada.
Wow.
That's and Brightwood. These are your current temperatures in the metro right now.
Yeah, at
folks.
11.
At 11 o'clock in the morning, anyone in Troutdale 70 and Portland, like we warmed up pretty quick. Camas 80, Battleground 80, 89. So, we are really starting to see things heating up. And then current temperatures, this is what we call the DMA, our designated media area. So Astoria is already into the mid 70s. That's pretty warm there. 80s, I don't see any 90s quite yet, but we're definitely heating up. Heading down upper 70s through the valley. I have a friend who's having a garage sale today. I told her to be ready to close down about noon because it's heating up pretty fast down there. All right, now this is what we have been watching. This is the high pressure. The darker the color, the closer to the center you get, the warmer the air is. And it's just been nudging up. And so this is that hot high pressure that's getting up to us. If you remember, we talked about this when we're forecasting, and something we're looking at is the potential for this air that's in that upper atmosphere to what we call mix down to the surface. And when we have that east wind, that's one of the key components to that. And we do have that here along with the right air, no clouds. Like it's just checking all the boxes for a full mix, 100% mix to the surface. So that's where we are for Sunday or Saturday morning, tomorrow morning. And then it does start to back off a little. You see it starts to get into a lighter color. This is Monday. And what we're watching for is this high pressure to back off enough to allow, I wouldn't call it necessarily cold air, cool air, but the low pressure that you can see that's sitting up in the Gulf of Alaska up there to come down. It kind of meanders around, and then now we're getting into Thursday, and you can see that low comes down and is sitting pretty much just offshore from us. And we should be back to those mid 80s by that time. So that's what we're watching, where and how this is going to work. So here it is, your 7-day forecast for you. We have those 4 first alert weather days through Monday. And as I mentioned, our threshold is 95. If for some reason the high pressure decides it wants to stick around, we're not talking heat dome like we had back.
Yeah, we all know the heat dome word.
Yeah, so
this is not a heat dome.
It's not, we haven't put that word out there just yet. But usually, it's that broad, and I brought you that graphic, I think, the last time we talked about, that over, because it is moving around. It's not sitting stationary.
Just parked right over us. Okay.
Blocking highs and something else that we use. So you could see it was kind of building up and moving down and it's kind of scooting around, but it's definitely sticking around enough to heat us up. And it just seems like it's just slow. It's like taking its time to. So things to remember, today the hood to coast started. Yeah. So we've been covering the temperatures for that. By the time folks get down, and around the metro area, it could be in triple digits. Tomorrow morning, I believe it was around Jewel, if I remember right, is where they're supposed to be. It's actually going to be pretty cool, like mid 50s to mid 60s, depending on where you're at.
That'll be a nice leg if you're running that one.
Yes. Yeah. And then back into these warmer temperatures, maybe mid 70s, upper 70s tomorrow, once you get to the coast. And I noticed we were showing, footage from past years, and last year it was completely cloudy and gray when they got to seaside there. That's not going to be
Just
the case.
Big difference, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow. And then again, overnight temperatures. And then we have a game on Saturday. We have the state fair this weekend.
There's lots of festivals going on too. Yeah, just around the whole metro area.
And then
a lot of outdoor events. Vancouver Wine and Jazz Festival is going on.
Yeah.
That Made Bike Festival I was talking about. Yeah. So.
Yep. And then there are several school districts. They start on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of
Are they going to start?
Well, so far, I mean, so my son has football, and they were supposed to have practice tonight. They did it this morning. You know, they're moving things around, and I know, you know, some schools don't have air conditioners, buses don't have air conditioners, so
yeah,
we will see. But I have my eyes glued to. It's called Parent View.
Parent View,
where we get all of our information from, because you know it's pretty hot to start school.
It is very hot to start school, and we're going to have information for you too on that all day. I know at 11:45, about 20 minutes or so, I believe Multnomah County is going to be having a press conference just about the heat.
Yeah.
Presumably talking about some of the different measures that they're taking for that too. I think even the mayor is going to be talking, so we'll have that live stream for everybody once that comes up. But yeah, a lot of decisions to be made there, I'm sure, for like you mentioned. I mean, schools. Do they open? Do they not open? Do they delay? Do they, not delay? We don't have any answers for you on that.
Do they release early? They can
release
do that
early.
too.
Yeah, a lot of different options when it comes to this kind of heat. But I mean, it is serious. This is some serious heat that's coming here.
Yeah.
And just to show you once again, in case you haven't seen it enough, right there. I mean, that's you really got to pay attention, and especially since it's not cooling down that much at night.
Yeah.
That's gonna suck. I'm just saying that for me personally. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. But yeah, that's some really, really hot weather. So be careful out there.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about this and we say, hydration is key, but one of those things that you might already know or you don't, but I feel like I'm compelled to say it is, don't just try and drink a whole bunch of water at once. Like, be continually hydrating yourself. Get a cool rag, like those kind of things. Look for cooling shelters if you need to, because just an hour or two out of the heat could definitely help you out. Go to a movie, go walk the mall, things
get
like
indoors,
that.
get in some air conditioning. I know TriMet too has released a statement. There's certain hours they're not going to. If somebody's going to a cooling center, you don't have to pay fare. So a lot of options out there. But we'll keep you up to date with everything that we can. And Katie, thank you for going through this too. So at least we have a better idea of what's coming up here.
Yeah, hopefully, every time we get to new model runs, I'm hoping it's backing off, but it's holding pretty strong. They haven't changed too much other than extending it. I think that's the only thing I've seen
extending
it a little longer. So.
Well, we will keep you up to date. And again, thanks for joining us too. This is Fox 12 Now. This is where we get to do these longer form segments here for our live stream. Whatever platform you're watching on, thanks for doing so. You can download the Fox 12 Oregon app, and the Fox 12 Weather app would be a great one to get a hold of if you don't have that already. Yeah,
and the thing with that is we do short 1-minute forecasts, and we do them throughout the day. And so if there's, we reach that 100-degree temperature, we see anything change, important updates, and they're just real quick, and then you can get an alert sent right to your phone. So that way you're not having to wait for the newscast to come on, immediately when something is happening, whether it's temperature-wise, wind-wise, through winters, it goes right to your phone, so you can get that alert right away if it's something that's important to you.
Yeah, all that. Great idea for that. Well, all right. Well, Katie, thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And again, we'll have more here coming up. So if you are watching live, we'll be back in, check on my clock. I don't know, about 20 minutes or so, we'll have something more for you. But and then throughout the afternoon as well. So thanks for joining us. This is Fox 12 Now. That's the right one.